You are someone who wants to become a travel therapist or a travel nurse, and you are somewhere between 3 months before your first travel job or all the way to a year or more out. And you're like, what should I be doing right now? How can I be prepping for this lifestyle and this adventure I'm about to be going on?
Nomadicare.com makes it easy to be a travel nurse, travel therapist, or any allied health traveler. It's full of unbiased education, a job board marketplace with pay listed up front, and there are free tools to learn how to negotiate to make sure you're getting paid fair. Our bread and butter is vetted recruiter matchmaking. You tell us where you want to go, and we will match you with perfectly vetted recruiters who pay the best and have jobs where you want them.
I'm Laura. I'm a traveler myself, also the founder and owner of Nomadicare, and I'm going to teach you exactly what you can be doing during this stage of your journey before you become a travel healthcare worker. Number one mistake that a lot of people make during this time is they think that when they decide they want to be a travel healthcare worker, they should start talking to recruiters right away. Actually, you don't really need to talk to recruiters at all until you're about 3 months before your desired start date. So if you actually want to start your job, let's say in March, you don't need to talk to recruiters until January. So very, very late in the process is when you start talking to recruiters. The reason for that is because you got to know what the role of a recruiter is. The recruiter's main role is actually not to educate you. It's going to be to tell you about the job market. They're going to say, hey, here's where the jobs are right now. Here's what they pay. Here's what we have to offer. Here's the benefits of the company. And they'll guide you a little bit. But if a recruiter's main job was to educate you, they would never ever have time to get to all of us, because to learn about this industry, it actually takes quite a few hours. There's whole entire courses on how to become a travel healthcare worker. There's tons of YouTube videos. So the main bulk of the education side about how to thrive and do this industry great is going to be on you by doing stuff just like this, watching videos, reading blogs from reliable sources. And so you don't want to lean on a recruiter too much to guide you through all the steps, because they probably won't do the best job. But you can lean on places like me and Nomadicare for that. And that is really what this stage of becoming a traveler is all about. Learning. But you might say, what should I learn about? I don't even know what I don't know. Number one thing is you want to learn about tax homes. One of the really cool concepts of this industry is that we can get tax-free stipends. And tax-free stipends makes a really big difference in how much we get paid. It's super cool, but there's rules to that. And the rules revolve around this concept of a tax home. So make sure you know what a tax home is. Do you have a real tax home? How far away do you have to go? What does duplicating expenses mean? And everything around this topic, because sometimes the things you need to do to make sure you really have a tax home need to happen about the 6-month mark before your start date. The next thing that's kind of related to that is how pay works. In a traditional job, you get paid, they take certain taxes out, and that's what it is. In travel healthcare, pay is a lot more complex. And really understanding how pay works, why it works, why we can get tax-free money, how much we can get, and the different buckets of money that our pay goes into will help you exponentially in understanding your paychecks, in negotiating, and in understanding how much you should be getting paid so you can feel really empowered going into those conversations. Because as a travel healthcare worker, you are essentially going to be renegotiating your pay every 13 weeks. You'll eventually get very skilled at this, but it feels so good to already know how to have those conversations from the very start. Number 3 is knowing how much you're worth in this industry, meaning how much should you expect to be getting paid. Expectations can be all over the place depending on if you're getting your information from a Facebook post or an Indeed post or a job board, and you really want to know how much you're worth. And this changes. Just 6 months ago or a year ago with ICU nurses, they were worth so much money because of supply and demand and a world pandemic. What they are actually worth today is a lot less because of supply and demand and the pandemic being more or less over in the way that it was before. And so what you're worth at a certain point can change. and how much that someone's willing to pay for you in one state will be different than another state. So you never want to have just one number to say, I expect to make this amount of money as a traveler. You want to say, I understand how to use resources that are out there to know how much I'm worth at this time period of the year and in this location and in this setting. So there's really cool resources, but it's just good to practice using them. Nomadicare has one where you can put in a pay for the city and state that you're getting an offer or planning on going to. And it'll tell you if that pay is above or below the average of the market for that time period. You can look on job boards. Nomadicare.com does have a job board that requires the staffing agencies that post to it to put the pay on there. So you can put in different cities and states and start getting a feel to who is paying what and how much facilities are willing to pay for you in different locations. So you kind of already have a ballpark of what the market will pay for you in different locations, which is a better strategy than just having one set number for the entire country. Number 4 is at a certain point, you are going to want to be picking which company you're working with. There are over 400 staffing agencies out there. You only need to work with 2 or 3, but you do want to work with the 2 or 3 best ones for your goals and for the benefits you want. Sometimes newer travelers make the mistake of wanting every single benefit and the top pay. And so they're picking companies based on things like, do they offer me paid time off? Are they going to give me medical insurance on day 1 of my assignment or the first of the month after I start my assignment? And they might have a very picky list and think that's a good way to go about it. However, I would encourage you to pick companies a different way. Benefits are not really the biggest reason we travel. 401k benefits, for example, usually take a long time to kick in, a long time for a company to match your earnings anyway. And one of the best strategies as a traveler is to have the flexibility to move between companies. So you don't really want to pick a company based on the benefits, or you'll kind of be stuck working with them forever. You won't have the benefit of being able to switch between companies, which is actually how we make the most money as travelers and have the most opportunities. Because the person who is really good at placing us when we dream of going to Alaska is not the same company that's really good at placing us when we want to go to California or New York. You want to be able to switch companies based on the locations you're traveling to. So with that in mind, I would not be super strict of the benefits you need, but if there are things that are black and white, I have to have this, make sure you know that, because it'll be easier to eliminate companies that you don't want to work with. Number 5 is you're going to want to start narrowing down where you want to travel to while keeping an open mind. This is similar to figuring out what your worth is in each state. You're also going to want to figure out where the jobs are. Just because you want to go to Florida or you want to live with your friend in Tennessee doesn't mean that there's travel job openings there. And so you do want to be watching the job boards and watching the market trends to see, is the place that I want to go to paying me what I want to be paid, and are there even job openings there? Because a lot of new travelers will come through even places like Nomadicare and have very, very specific things they want, and there's just no jobs there with any company. And so you want to make sure even early on you're watching those trends so your dreams and everything that's on your travel vision board is actually aligned with where the jobs really are. And if they're not, then maybe you can start researching other areas and see what else could I be super excited about where there is an abundance of jobs and I know I can likely get one when the time comes. When you get that list, then it's a good time to start getting licensure for those states, but you don't have to do that, the actual licensure step, till maybe 4 months before you start traveling. And the last thing is really just getting yourself prepared for that recruiter relationship that will start about 3 months before your desired start date. That's gonna be like getting your resume together. Having a good resume is crucial in this industry, and it's really surprising how many travelers don't have a really good resume. So take time to make a really good resume that lets the skills that you have stand out. It shows the settings you've worked in, and it allows you to easily be chosen as the person they want to come hit the ground running in their clinic over somebody else, because this industry is a bit competitive and you do want your resume to show how good you are at your skills. And then the other thing is just learning how to be a good traveler in the recruiter-traveler relationship. It's not one-sided, and having a really good relationship with the recruiter is a very good strategy in getting paid more money, learning about the best opportunities, and having an overall better experience. We have blogs written about how to be a good traveler or how to be a traveler that no recruiter would ever want to work with. Make sure you read those so you're going into the relationship with good expectations of how you can show up in a way that will get you paid more, but also have a great relationship. And the other side of that is making sure you learn the recruiter red flags so you know what should your expectations be of recruiters and what would you accept from recruiters or not accept from recruiters, and making sure you're really picking those 2 to 3 recruiters who you trust and you like and can be with you throughout your journey, because it's not actually that fun to switch recruiters all of the time. You want just a couple that are on your team. Of course, at Nomadicare, we're recruiter matchmakers. We can help you once you get to that 3-month mark or 2-month mark and pair you with the best recruiters. But you do want to be prepared in your mind of what does that mean, and be empowered for yourself to say, this is a good recruiter because of this, and I'm being a great travel partner to this company as well because of this. And go into it knowing how to have a great relationship with them. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we will have new videos every single week about a different topic in travel healthcare.